Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Adam Smith. The holiday season has finally arrived, and for a lot of us that means one thing. It's a prime time for solo board gaming. So between gatherings, dinners, and general holiday chaos, there is perfect little moments when you can slip away, set up something on the table, and get lost in a great game. And honestly, there's something special about playing solo this time of year because everything slows down a bit and the world just gets a lot quieter, and it's a perfect excuse to dig into games that really shine when it's just you and the board. So I wanted to put together a list that isn't just the biggest solo board games or the most popular names, but games that actually feel good to play during the holidays. These are games you can sink hours into or games you can knock out in quick sessions if you're short on time. Some are story driven, some hit that roguelike itch, some are puzzly, some are all about adventure, but every single one of them is something I would definitely play during the downtime of the season. In this list, you'll see a mix of genres, a range of play lengths, and a few surprises along the way, but the whole point of the list is to give you solo experiences that fit the season, the kinds of games you can enjoy with a hot drink, inside on a snowy day, maybe with some lights twinkling in the background, and you just melt into your own world for a bit. So if you're looking to add something new to your solo rotation, or you just want that perfect holiday escape, this list is going to set you up very nicely. These are my top 10 solo board games you need to play this holiday season. Let's roll into it. Now, before we get into the top 10, I do want to give you some honorable mentions, another handful of games you can check out on your own. I won't be going into the specifics of these ones that you've actually seen me cover almost every single one of these on the channel in the past, but these are great experiences that you can dig into over the holidays that will definitely immerse you and keep you entertained for hours on end. And on top of the honorable mentions, here are some Rolling Solo Hall of Fame mentions as well. These are great games with a core game releasing 10 plus years ago. These ones have been around for a long time, and some of them have multiple editions, so you'll have no problem finding them out in the wild in order to pick up one of interest to you. These are games that are staples in the solo community and have been for a long time. Now, just before we head into the list, it is worth mentioning the list criteria for this video is very straightforward. These are just 10 games that I can't get enough of during the holiday season. These are the games that currently speak to me, call to me to play during this time frame of the year. So this is my list. Now, your list might look completely different, and also worth mentioning, this list is not comprised of Christmas-themed games. That's not kind of the angle that I'm going for here. These are just the kind of experiences that I am going after during this time frame of the year. So in essence, this is a very fun list, and so as you go through the top 10 with me, as well as all the things you've already seen with the honorable mentions and the Hall of Fame, if you have any games you'd recommend to solo gamers out there to play during the holidays, definitely let us all know in the comments down below. With that out of the way, let's head into my top 10 solo board games you need to play this holiday season. Starting off at number 10 on my list is Unstoppable from Renegade Games Studios. It is a fast roguelike deck builder where you pick a hero, you start with a small deck, and then you try to survive long enough to take down a boss that's way stronger than you are at the start of the game. Each turn you're drafting or upgrading cards, dealing with threats, and trying to build momentum. But the twist is that the same deck you're improving is also where the enemies are coming from. So every time you upgrade, you're also kind of poking the hornet's nest. It's this fun push and pull. We're getting stronger also means the world is getting a little more dangerous. Solo play is super smooth. You're controlling one hero and going through a round structure of upkeep, draft, actions, threats, and cleanup. And you're constantly having to make smart decisions about timing. Do you upgrade early or risk waking up to bigger threats? Or do you play it safe and hope you can scale fast enough later on? Your health is very precious in this game, and the tension that builds each round is definitely felt. You win the game by defeating the boss before your health or the danger track wipes you out. It's very straightforward on paper, but the decisions are very tight and every turn of the game matters. Now, the reason this makes my holiday top 10 list is how quick and addictive the runs in this game are. It takes almost no time to set up, it plays very fast, and it gives you that one more try feeling immediately. If you lose, you just reset and go again with a different idea or a different hero or even a different strategy altogether. And during the holidays when you might not have the brain power or table space for a giant campaign game, something like Unstoppable is perfect. It scratches the itch without taking over your whole night. So long story short, if you want a solo game that hits hard, plays fast, and gives you a ton of replayability through clever deck manipulation and escalating threats, Unstoppable absolutely earns a spot on this list for those reasons. It's easy to learn, it's tough to master, and it's super satisfying when you finally take that boss down. Number 9 on my list is Dark Venture from Gilded Skull Games. It's a wonderfully weird retro fantasy adventure game where the world literally unfolds as you play it. You start with just your hero and a small piece of the map uncovered, and every turn you're drawing cards, you're placing new locations, you're meeting strange characters, you fight off really bizarre creatures, you pick up odd items that all somehow make perfect sense in this very grim and psychedelic setting. It's got this throwback vibe that feels part sci-fi, part dark fantasy, and part fever dream, and that's honestly what makes it so fun to play solo. When playing solo, you're basically out there carving your own path. You pick your hero, you grab a quest, and you let the world grow around you. So some turns you play, you're exploring and discovering new spots. Other turns, you're dealing with encounters that can completely change your plans that you originally had. Combat and skill checks rely on dice in the game, so you're never totally sure how things are going to actually land for you, but the unpredictability of the game is part of the charm. Every session is like you're telling a new, slightly unhinged story. Sometimes you come out on top, sometimes you barely survive, and sometimes you just embrace the chaos and you see where things go from there. The aim of the game depends on the scenario you choose. Usually you're trying to complete a quest before time runs out or before your hero gets wiped out, but honestly, Dark Venture is one of those games where the win is more about the story you walk away with. If you manage to finish your mission in this wild world, awesome. If not, you probably still had a memorable run full of strange encounters and unexpected turns, and also learned something to help you the next time you play. Now, the reason for me it landed on this list is because the game is just pure solo energy. It's quick to set up, it's super replayable, and every single solo playthrough goes in a totally different direction. When you're looking for something that doesn't require a ton of table space, but still gives you that big adventure feeling, especially during the holidays when time and space can be limited, Dark Venture hits the spot perfectly. It's a great little story generator for those evenings when you just want to kick back and explore a world that is delightfully weird. Number 8 on my list is The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game from Office Dog, and it's honestly one of the coolest surprises for solo play this year. It looks like this simple little card game, but the moment you sit down with it, you realize there's a lot of tension and puzzle solving baked into it. You're basically running the whole fellowship yourself. You deal out multiple hands, one for each character, and every chapter gives you a different set of goals for each of them. So one hero might need to win a certain number of tricks, another might need to avoid winning tricks altogether, and someone else is hunting for specific ring cards, and you're just trying to juggle all of that at once. In solo play, you're constantly thinking, okay, well, whose card do I play here? Who actually wants to win this trick? And because you're managing all the hands, it becomes this really clever little brain twist that still feels super thematic. You're guiding the fellowship through part of the story, chapter by chapter, and every decision matters. If you finish a chapter with all the characters hitting their objectives, of course you win. If even one falls short, though, you feel it, and you usually know exactly the moment things slip for you. The reason the game landed on the list is pretty simple. It's a perfect holiday solo game. It's quick to set up, it's quick to play, and it's super replayable without being heavy. You can knock out a chapter in 20 to 30 minutes or run a few back to back if you're in the zone. It's small, it's low stress, but it also gives you that feeling of meaningful challenge along the way. And you also get those great little Middle-earth story beats without needing a giant table or a massive campaign commitment. So if you love trick-taking games and you want a small footprint game that is smart to play, gives you a nice puzzle to solve every single time you sit down to play it, then this is the one for you. It's light, it's flavorful, it's going to give you that guiding the fellowship vibe in a way that actually works solo. It's a very easy recommendation, and there is also a Two Towers version out, and I'm sure the third is on the way in the future. Moving on to number 7 on my list is Vantage from Stonemaier Games, a massive open-world sci-fi adventure where you've crash-landed on a mysterious planet and you're basically left to figure things out on your own. There's no guided path, there's no predetermined route, you're just dropped into a world of location cards and discoveries, and every turn you decide where to wander, what to interact with, and how you're going to survive overall. You're slowly building out your character using this little 3x3 grid of cards. You get gear, allies, vehicles, weird tech along the way. All this stuff you stumble across just kind of becomes part of your story as you play the game. Playing solo honestly feels like you're playing a really chill RPG. You're exploring at your own pace, you're rolling for challenges when things get risky, you're keeping an eye on your health, your morale, and your time, and just kind of seeing what the planet throws at you. There's a mission or a destiny you're trying to complete each session, but half the fun is just getting sidetracked by whatever you discover along the way, which happened quite a bit in my playthrough. One playthrough, you might spend a whole time scavenging crash ships over on the side, and the next you're trekking through ancient ruins or helping out a random faction. It really depends where you end up and what choices you make. The aim of the game is to try to finish a mission or fulfill your destiny before your stats tank on you. But honestly, Vantage doesn't feel like a game that's obsessed with winning or losing. It's more about the journey, the surprises, how your explorer grows run after run, and that's a big part of why it landed on this list. It's super replayable, it's really easy to get lost in for an hour or two, and has that perfect mix of freedom and discovery that just works when you want something immersive but not overwhelming. So if you're into open world adventures and you like carving your own path, or you just want a game that lets you explore a giant world without needing a whole group of people, Vantage absolutely delivers that. It's one of those games where you'll finish a session and immediately want to jump back in to see what else is out there. Number 6 on my list is Earthborne Rangers, coming from Earthborne Games. It's a really chill, story-driven adventure game where you play as a ranger wandering through a huge living valley. You're exploring forests, rivers, mountains, and little settlements. All these pockets of life that feel connected and alive. The game runs on a card-based system instead of a typical board, so every turn you're drawing cards, gaining energy from your ranger's aspects, and deciding how you want to spend that energy. Maybe you're investigating a location, helping someone out, maybe sneaking past some danger, or just following a lead you picked up earlier. As you play the game, it honestly feels like you're just going on your own little hike through the world. You build up a deck that represents your ranger's abilities and gear, and as you explore, you'll meet characters, pick up items, find trouble, you'll solve problems, and push the story forward in whatever direction you feel like going. There isn't a strict path you have to follow. You get to wander, you get to discover, and you get to react to what the valley throws at you. And the coolest part, your deck grows and evolves with the choices you make through the game. You might learn some new skills, you might unlock some new story cards, or completely change how your ranger plays just based on how your adventure unfolds. A session in the game kind of feels like a day in the life of your character. You wake up, you look at your cards, you figure out what priorities you have for that day, then you head out and see what happens. Sometimes you'll chase down a big quest, sometimes you'll just end up helping someone out, like fixing a bridge or tracking a strange creature that you spotted near a stream, but there's no wrong way to play it essentially. That freedom is what makes the game so good solo. It doesn't feel like the game needs anything else at the table to come alive. Your objective is to try to complete missions or story threads that you're following, but honestly, the game is way more about the journey than some final victory moment. It's about your ranger growing, the world reacting, and seeing how the valley changes based on what you've done. And that's exactly why Earthborne Rangers landed on my list. It's a perfect solo game for those quieter nights when you want something immersive, something you can sink your teeth into without rushing. It's relaxing, it's thoughtful, and it gives you that sense of being on your own adventure at your own pace. It's just one of those games where you finish a session and think, yeah, I could live in this world for a little bit longer. We made it halfway through the list. In the 5th position is Distilled from Paverson Games. It's one of those games that looks like it's just about making booze, but there's actually a really solid solo strategy game underneath all that theme. You're running your own little distillery, buying ingredients, upgrading your equipment, learning new recipes, and trying to put together the best spirits you can. Every round you're juggling money, ingredients, and timing. Do you age this batch? Do you bottle something cheap just to stay afloat? Do you push for something more complex and hope you don't get burned by the distilling process? You'll have these types of strategic questions going through your head the entire time you're playing Distilled. The game throws a set of objectives at you, each row gives you a handful of goals, and you just need to knock out one from each row while still hitting a target score by the end of the game. It sounds very simple, but it actually creates this fun little puzzle where you're constantly shifting plans depending on what the market gives you or how your last batch turned out. And yeah, that distilling step where the top and bottom cards get removed, it keeps you honest. You can plan everything perfectly and still end up with a surprise, which makes those big successes feel really good in the game. Distilled has a really nice rhythm to it. You're managing your distillery, you're building your engine, you're taking calculated risks, and then you're watching everything come together in the final round when you bottle that big prestige spirit and hope it's enough to push you over the goal line. It's tense but not stressful, it's crunchy but not overwhelming, it fits in the sweet spot that just feels good when you want a satisfying solo game that isn't a full brain meltdown. And those are just some of the reasons it landed on my list. It's also easy to get into, it plays smoothly on your own, and always gives you that just one more try feeling because you know you can do better the next time. It's thematic, it's rewarding, and it's kind of the perfect game to sit down with on a cold evening when you want something engaging but not exhausting. So yeah, Distilled absolutely earns that spot. It's a fantastic solo puzzle wrapped in a really fun theme, and it's one of those games that keeps calling you back for another round. Number 4 on my list is Townsfolk Tussle from Panic Roll Games. It's a wild, old cartoon-style boss battler where you're basically trying to clean up a really messed up little town. Everything looks cute and bouncy on the surface, but don't let that art style fool you. The game is quite difficult at times. In solo play, you're usually controlling 2 townsfolk, sometimes 3 if you want a little extra chaos, but each character has their own quirks, each their own abilities, and you'll be gearing them up between fights with whatever ridiculous items you manage to scrounge or buy. Then it's straight into the showdown with one of the ruffians, these over-the-top bosses with their own decks, their own patterns, and usually some terrain gimmick that makes the whole battlefield a bit unpredictable. Every fight in the game definitely feels different because the game loves throwing curveballs at you. Maybe the terrain is working against you, maybe the ruffian's card flips completely change how you thought the battle would go, or maybe you pull a piece of gear that suddenly turns your little farmer into an absolute menace. It's chaotic, it's very silly, and it's brutally punishing in all the best ways. The goal of the game is to survive 4 ruffians in a row. That's it. If both your heroes make it through all 4 fights, you win, but honestly, that's easier said than done. Most of the time, you're scraping by with 1 health left, trying to squeeze just one more turnout of a character who definitely should have died 2 rounds ago. And that's the kind of magic of it. Even victory feels earned, and every loss still leaves you grinning because the game has so much personality. Townsfolk Tussle is a big-time favorite of mine. It's a perfect game for the holidays because it gives you that fun, over-the-top arcade boss rush energy in a package you can just dive into for an entire night. It's challenging, it's hilarious at times, and often, a lot of the time, it's full of surprises, and it gives you these memorable little solo stories that will stick with you long after you've played it. It's the kind of game where you'll finish a fight, win or lose, and then immediately think, okay, we're running that back, I want to try again. So if you want something that feels big, punchy, and a little unhinged along the way, this absolutely earned its spot on this holiday top 10. We have made it to top 3 territory, and in the 3rd position, The Lord of the Rings Fate of the Fellowship from Z-Man Games. It is a solo-friendly adventure game that drops you right into the heart of Middle-earth during one of the most iconic moments in the story. You are guiding the Fellowship as they try to stay one step ahead of Sauron's forces, making decisions that shape how the journey plays out while dealing with all the tension of running from an enemy that never stops closing in. You'll be controlling the entire Fellowship in group solo, moving them across locations, managing threats, handling encounters, and making choices that constantly shift the state of the board. Every turn feels like you're putting out fires, so someone needs help, or someone else is in danger, or the enemy track is creeping forward, and you're trying to keep the Fellowship together long enough to push toward their objective, and that is easy to say and very hard to do. What I like about the game is how clean the decision-making feels. You're juggling just enough to stay invested without getting overwhelmed, and the game does a great job of capturing that we're barely holding this together vibe throughout the entire experience that definitely defines the Fellowship's journey inside the books and movies. There's always this sense that you're surviving by inches, which honestly is the best part. A win in the game is completing the mission's objectives without letting the Fellowship fall apart or letting Sauron's forces catch up to you. And when you succeed, it feels like you've earned it. When you fail, it always feels like you almost pulled it off, which makes you just want to jump right back in. And that right there is why this game landed in my top 10 solo games you need to play this holiday season in the 3rd position. It's the kind of game where you tell yourself you're going to play once, but then you end up playing 3 games and hours have gone by. So if you're looking for a narrative solo game with meaningful choices and that classic Lord of the Rings atmosphere, this one definitely will do it for you, especially when you want something immersive but not too heavy during the holiday break. Number 2 on my list belongs to the Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era from Chip Theory Games. This is basically your shot at diving into Tamriel in full tabletop form, but as a true solo adventure. Now, I can't tell you how many times during the holiday season I've always wanted to play Skyrim again. It always somehow creeps back up into my mind. Well, this is probably as close as you're going to get on the tabletop. It's definitely a great one. You're creating a hero, you're building up their skills, you're grabbing gear, and heading out across the land to uncover this big looming conspiracy that ties the whole campaign together. And the coolest part is the game really gives you that feeling of going where you want, taking on quests at your pace, wandering into danger you probably shouldn't. All that classic Elder Scrolls energy is there, but on the table. Solo playing the game works really smoothly. You're managing your character or even a little 2-person party if you want to, and the game auto scales around you if you want to go crazy. You'll be exploring cities, roaming the wilds, diving into dungeons, rolling dice for combat and skill checks, and reacting to all these encounters the game throws your way. Every choice matters, of course. Do you take that risky path for better loot, or do you try to negotiate or just swing your sword first? All that shapes how your story is going to play out, and because the encounters and rewards are so varied, every run feels just a little different. To win the game, you're pushing through a 3-part campaign, you're picking up clues, leveling up your character, and eventually taking on the final showdown. The game really leans into the open world, build your own adventure vibe, which is what makes it so addictive in solo play. The game nails that feeling of getting lost in a world for a couple hours at a time, and you'll find yourself really enjoying those cold nights inside with a warm drink, the big fantasy map on the table, working your way through a campaign. It's a perfect solo game. It gives you exploration, gives you character growth, meaningful choices, and those tense tactical fights that make every victory feel earned in the game. If you're looking for a game you can sink your teeth into over the holidays and really feel like you went on an adventure, this one absolutely delivers. And the number one solo board game you need to play this holiday season is Slay the Spire, the board game from Contention Games. This is basically the tabletop version of that super addictive roguelike deck builder a lot of us sunk way too many hours into, but now you're actually laying the cards out, climbing the tower, and watching your build come together right on the table. You pick one of the heroes, the Ironclad, the Silent, the Defect, or the Watcher, and you start at the bottom of the spire, and from there, every room you move into is some kind of surprise. It might be a regular fight, an elite monster, a random event, a merchant, or just a chance to rest. The solo play works exactly how you want it to. You draw a hand of cards, you get a little energy to spend, and you decide how to handle whatever the Spire throws at you. You want to block, attack, play some clever powers, whatever fits the moment. Between the battles, you get those classic roguelike choices. Do you heal? Do you upgrade a card? Do you take the riskier path for the bigger reward? Do you buy that relic that might completely change how your build plays? And of course, you're changing, tweaking your deck along the way, adding new cards, removing bad ones, upgrading the good ones. Watching the engine slowly form is honestly half the fun of the game. Your goal in the game is simple: climb all the way to the top and beat the final boss. If your health hits 0, your run's over. No safety net, no second chance, but that's what makes every decision feel tight in the game and meaningful. And because the map, the enemies, and the rewards, everything shifts each time you play the game, no 2 runs ever feel the same. It's very, almost incredibly replayable, which is honestly why it easily earned the top spot in this list. It is the perfect kind of game for those quieter December nights where you just want to sit down, run a hero through a tower, and see what kind of build you can cook up during that time frame. If you love tense decisions, cool combinations, and that's a super satisfying part of the game, and that feeling of barely hanging on until a card draw saves the day for you, this one hits the spot, and it's a blast solo. And that, my friends, is going to wrap up my top 10 solo board games you need to play this holiday season. Now, no matter what you have on your shelf already or what you might be interested in from this list, I'm really hoping you find something interesting to pull off your shelf or to look into for the future to enjoy during the holiday season. Now, if you didn't hear a game that you're really into during the holidays mentioned here, whether it's actually thematically tied to Christmas or it's just a game you really enjoy playing at this time of year, definitely let us all know in the comments down below. If you're new here or you've been here for some time and you've never checked out the Discord or the Facebook group, we would love to have you in either or both of those locations. We are talking about retail release solo games, crowdfunding solo games, and literally every aspect of the hobby, especially inside the Discord where things are broken out even further. And you can find the pockets of information you are specifically looking for, or just come hang out and chat with everyone. If you want to join the solo community in either of those locations, be sure to check out the video description for the link. And also, if you enjoy what I do and you want to support the channel, be sure to check out the join button on the Rolling Solo YouTube homepage. There's a join button there which will take you directly to the tiers where you can actually support the channel and see it grow further. I also provide you a number of perks, things like early access to videos and some new things coming in the new year I'm really excited to dig into and I'm currently working on. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. And a huge thank you to all the current supporting members of the channel at this time. You guys are the backbone of the channel, and I appreciate you so much. That's going to wrap up this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know any other thoughts you have in the comments below. And as always, keep on rolling solo.